All right, welcome everybody. It is Thursday night. I have my good friend Jared from the Blaklist Podcast on with me tonight. And actually, I think we're on his page at the same time, so I'm on with him tonight. Thank
Yeah,
you
we
for coming on, Jared.
thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for this. This is really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And you guys have to stay tuned because we're going to do something really cool towards the end. Jared is going to share his new song with us. So I'm really, really excited for that.
Yes, stay tuned. We're not going to give it away quite yet, but stay tuned, and we have a lot of good stuff to talk about. So
Yeah, for sure. If you guys are watching right now, drop your name in the comments where you're watching from. Drop your recovery date so that we can say hello to you.
let me see if I can do the chat too. Oh, okay, I see it. So you can pop up the comments, right?
Yeah, I'll
All
pop
right,
up the comments as they come.
awesome. Yeah, because this is so cool. It's been a long time since I've been live, so I'm so excited to be able to do this.
Yeah, and we've done quite a few of these together. So if you guys haven't checked out the Blacklist podcast, you need to. So Jared and I did actually, how long ago do you think it's been since we met, Jared?
Uh, it was almost a year because I actually got notified on Facebook that one of my memories was that I was doing an episode with you, and that was a year ago.
That's so cool.
So a year, we met a year ago.
Yeah. We met a year ago and I did my story with Jared on his show. And then Jared just recently did his story with me on my YouTube. So that'll be coming out soon. So you guys got to stay tuned for that.
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
We got Kristen. Is that right? Kristen. I love the way you spell your name from Mulbro, Oklahoma, since October 26, 2022. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I guess that we're gonna. Oh, we got another one. Sunshine. Oh, I love that. Hey, Sunshine.
Yeah, I'm seeing if I can see some of these things that come up.
I'm curious to know if it's on your page, if we can
That
see the comments from there too.
Yeah, so I know it's on my page, my personal page. I'm gonna see if it's on the Blacklist page. So mind you,
Okay.
this is the first time I'm doing this, guys. So
Yeah, we're
we're
learning new features.
yes. So it's on both pages. And let me see
I'm
if I can
on with
see.
him tonight. There we
Yes.
go. We're
So
on.
it's on both pages. Okay. And let me see
I'm
if I
on
can
with
see.
him tonight.
Here we go.
There
Yes.
we go. We're
So
on.
I think I messed it up.
Okay.
All right, we're good now. We're good.
We're good. Okay.
Oh, it's because my phone was connected to the speaker next to you, so I played it and it was going off on there. I was wondering what was going on. All right, I'm not gonna touch anything, guys.
Okay. All right. Kristen's got almost 5 months. She said, thanks for the shout out.
Yes,
And
awesome,
says,
Kristen.
hey, how's it going?
Hi, Sunshine.
All right, Peggy, you need to stay tuned because we are going to talk about this topic tonight. She says, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Now, I assume, Peggy, that you're talking about recovery and sobriety and staying clean. So, we're going to talk about treating your sobriety like it's day one, always day one. You know, we got to give it that kind of energy. She said, sober since whenever it was that, here, I'll pop it up. Sober since whenever it was that I made it from jail to prison.
You know what? That's one day or multiple years. You got to start somewhere.
That's right. And Sunshine agrees. She says it is tough. So maybe we can talk about that for a minute,
Yeah,
Jared.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I'll let you lead the way.
Yeah. So, one thing I've learned in recovery, like I thought that getting clean and not using drugs was going to solve all my problems. I specifically remember thinking when I was in my addiction that if I just didn't use it, everything would get better. And what I found, it was kind of like a disappointment when I got clean. Everything didn't get better. The only thing that was different was that I wasn't using drugs. So I really had to start working on myself in order to be able to find a new way to live. So I had to address the things that were broken inside of me. And that was really hard. It wasn't easy to deal with the trauma and face the things that I had been running from my entire life. Now, mind you, I was in treatment. I got out of treatment and then I went to a halfway house with no job, no car, no money. I mean, I had literally nothing when I started my journey. I was on probation. I had a case plan written for my kids. So I had a lot of pressure and a lot of stuff going on in my life that made it really overwhelming for me. So I feel you on that. It was really tough in the beginning, especially. And even like today, like there's days that it's still really tough. You know, recovery doesn't promise it's going to be easy by any means, but it is worth it. You know, I do believe that it's worth it.
No, I agree 100%. A lot of it is the fear of the unknown, So we're so used to living one way for so many years. And so think about it, even though we're making the decision to get clean and better for ourselves, we're still afraid of, well, what's going to happen, what's going to happen next. And that's why it's like a one day, one moment at a time. Like you're just dealing with that in that current moment and that day. Don't think about tomorrow, but just worry about what you're dealing with right now. And like you said, no, recovery. I've had people say, man, if I knew that recovery was going to be this hard, I would have never got sober. But you know what? Like, it's not going to be easy. We're not going to sit here and sugarcoat it and say that when you get clean, it's going to be sunshine and rainbows. If anything, it's going to be really, really, it's going to be worse in the beginning until you're able to get to a point where you're established. And then, you start working and building from there.
Hmm. Yeah, Emily says going on 3 years clean, and I still have to slow down and tell myself to just do the next right thing when I get overwhelmed.
Yep.
And that's so true. I totally agree with everything that you're saying, Jared. In the beginning, it's almost like harder than when I was using, because when I was using, I could escape my feelings. I didn't have to think about all of the problems in my life. And then when I got clean, like I had to face all of that. And it was really, really hard in the beginning. But I think it's the battle for me, anyways. I can only speak for myself. In the beginning, was I know what to fix this, right? Like every time something went wrong, I know what to fix this. I know what to fix this. Even if I was happy, I know what to make me happier. You know what I mean? Like I was constantly thinking about continuing to do. But eventually, you come to a point where you realize that using isn't going to fix it. It's not going to solve the problem. It's not going to make anything any better. As a matter of fact, it will just add to my problems
Mm-hmm.
and a whole lot worse. And then once you like do some work and build up a life, you realize that if you use, all of that goes right out the window. Maybe not today, but eventually and very quickly.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like it's not going to solve, it may solve your problems in that exact moment by taking you out of your current state of mind. But think about it, when all's said and done and you've come down and you're ready to, you're awake again, it just adds so much more chaos to you. I mean, it really does. We think that, oh, let's escape our reality, because let's face it, most of us decided to do this because we wanted to escape our feelings. But
Mm-hmm.
like, even for me now, like me personally, I couldn't use if I wanted to, because I think about all the crap that's going to come with it after the fact, and it's like, no, I fought so hard to get to not deal with that.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what it is. Like you get to a point where you realize, like, man, I have fought so hard to get here. I've done so much work. I don't want to just give all of that stuff away, because that's what will happen. We will give all of that stuff away. And I think
Yes.
it's really important, right? Is when you're having hard days, is to number one, find your gratitude. Like, what are the things that I'm grateful for? I'm grateful that I got a roof over my head, because when I was in my addiction, I was sleeping in a shed behind a trap house. I mean, I'm grateful that I don't have a warrant for my arrest. When I was in addiction, I regularly had warrants for my arrest. But aside from like the gratitude piece, like also playing the case, like what's going to happen if I pick up? I'm going to feel shame and guilt. I'm going to hate myself. I'm going to regret doing it. I'm going to wish I never picked up a substance. And then I have to deal with all the wreckage that comes.
Yep. I agree 100%. So that's why it's so vital to do exactly what we're talking about. It's so vital to, I got tongue tied. It's vital to treat your sobriety like it's day one, whether
Mhm.
you're one day in, whether you're 20 years in. Because what we do, just like the other gal said, is that, she has 3 years and she still has to stop and tell herself to slow down. we have to do that too, because we get so complacent in our lives and we're like, oh, I got 3 years, I got 5 years, I got how many ever years clean. And you think that you're invincible at that point. And no, you really have to like stop and back up and hit the brakes and be like, nah, because I can fall at any minute. And that's the thing. Like, I have to wake up every day and treat it like it's day one. Even 4.5 years later, I still have to do the same thing, because your recovery has to come first every single day. And I'm sorry, but it has to come before your family. It has to come before your job. It has to come before anything, because if you don't have that, if you can't be, clean and sober for yourselves, you're not useful to anybody out there.
Preach. I'm telling you, sometimes the time can be our enemy, man. I mean, sometimes we got like right now I'm coming up in 4 years. And sometimes I'm like so far removed from the substance, right? That it messes with your head sometimes, like, am I really an addict? Maybe I could just like smoke weed or whatever. You know what I mean? Sometimes it messes with your head. So I have to keep reminding myself, like, I can't use successfully. If I use, I'm either going to wind up gone or in jail. And that's what happens. I've proved that. I've done enough experimentation on this that I've proved that that's what's going to happen.
Yep. Nope, I agree 100%. We are humans. We are not invincible. We are humans, and it's going to happen at one point or another. We cannot guarantee. I just had this conversation with someone the other day. We cannot guarantee that we're going to stay sober the rest of our lives. I'm sorry, but that's the cold-hearted truth. We cannot guarantee that in 20 years, it's just, but that's why you have to fight every single day to make sure that you make it that far. But you can't sit there. Life is just insane, and it's just the way that it is, unfortunately. And we have to fight every single day. That's the biggest thing when I sponsor someone or when I'm talking to somebody. The biggest and best advice that I give to somebody is don't get too far ahead of yourself. Just focus on the moment and just focus on that moment. And the next thing you know, minutes turn into hours, turn into days, weeks, years, so on and so forth.
That's life-changing advice right there. Living in the moment. I want to address some of these comments real quick.
Yes.
Corey from Ohio says, your content's so important and vital to the community of survivors. Thank you so much. So we have a couple of people on here. There's two things that I would like to cover. So first, I just want to say hi to Beth. Beth, I see you. I always see you in my comments, and I appreciate your love and support so much. So I just want to shout you out real quick.
Hi, Beth. Okay.
So we have two comments. So I just want to tell you, Sunshine, we're going to get to your comment next. But first, let's talk about Terry real quick. Okay. Not talk about Terry, talk to Terry. She said, I just want to have the courage to start. And then Sunshine, we're coming to you next. So what do you think you would say to her about having the
courage to start? Man, I think we've all been there, when we first honestly, the way that I look at it is, why do you want to get sober? What's the reason, for you to get sober? Some people it's family, some people it's because they have to. Some people it's for themselves. Unfortunately, we know at the end of the day, unless you're truly ready to change, it doesn't matter how many times that you do it. But my advice is like, think about why you've obviously got to this point. And so you've obviously thought, I need to change. There's a reason that you're thinking about it. Why are you thinking about it? And then start moving forward, just one step after another. You don't have to do everything right then and there, but as long as you start. But the first thing to gaining the courage is to know, why am I doing this? I want to do this because I want to be a healthy person. I want to be there for my kids. I want to be there for my family. I want to help other addicts, whatever that may be.
Yeah, I love what you said, Jared. And, to me, this is my definition of courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite the fear, despite how afraid you are, how you feel. You do it afraid. Your courage is just pressing forward, right? Maybe it's just taking a small step in the right direction. But I like what you said, Jared, because when I got clean, I wasn't able to do it for me at that moment in time. because I didn't love myself enough to do it. So in the beginning, I did it for my kids. Like that was my reason. You
Right.
know, I did it because I didn't want to go to prison. So that held a little bit of weight too. But I had external reasons to do it in the beginning. But I did it like one small step at a time. Like just make that phone call and ask for help, or
Yeah.
just one step in the right direction. Don't beat yourself up. Just take one step in the right direction and let people help you do this, because the main thing is, like, you don't have to do this alone. Nobody can do this alone. So just reach out, make a phone call to somebody that you know that's sober, somebody that you know that can help you.
Right.
Make the phone call for today, right? Do it afraid. But what happened to me is, like, eventually I got to a place where I did want to do it for myself because I worked on myself enough to love myself. So she says, I am embarrassed. And I understand feeling like that, but I just want to tell you, like, there's asking for help. There's nothing to be embarrassed about asking for help. That is the most courageous and brave thing that you could ever do for yourself.
Yeah. Think about it, Terry. Every single one of us has been in your exact spot.
Yeah.
That's how we start.
Mhm.
And we're ashamed and we're embarrassed and we're everything. But at the end of the day, once you start to overcome it and you look at it now, that's what made us. That's what, and so, yes, I regret, the drugs and everything, but at the end of the day, it's made me who I am today. And so there's no need to be embarrassed about it. When you walk through recovery, you hold your head up high. You don't give a crap what anybody else says, no matter what they say, and you walk forward. And that's what you do.
Mhm.
You do never be ashamed about your recovery. And that's the biggest thing. I've met people and they're like, they're, multiple years sober, but they're like, I don't talk about it because I don't want people to know, that I was an addict. And then for me, I'm like, nah, I'll tell everybody any day of the week, because I want them, not because I'm proud of what I did, but because I know who I am now. I know what it made me. And I have such a impactful story, as well as, so do you, and everything, that we're able to help other people that were in our shoes. So that's where you start. That's the first thing that you do when you start, is just one foot in front of the other.
That's right. And can I just tell you how much courage it took to just say something on here? So good job with that. Like,
Yes,
I'm proud
exactly.
of you for that. It takes courage to say, I need help. I'm struggling. So I love what Jared said, because my shame became my story. My shame became my strength. Like, what I was before built me into this person that I am today. I had no idea that I would become who I am. Like, if I think about it now, like when I was out there on the street, like, who I am today compared to who I thought I was then, oh my God, like I just had no idea what was waiting for me on the other side. Sometimes you just like get over that hump, make that phone call. You could even do like virtual. There's a lot of virtual support groups. So you could
Yes.
go on Google and type in virtual recovery support group. So if you're afraid of, like, people at your work, she made a comment. Everyone thinks that I got my shit together and I'm afraid to ask anyone. If you could go on there to a virtual support group, find somebody on there to reach out to. I mean, just reach out for help, find somebody, but you can find lots of help on virtual support.
Yeah, let me tell you this. I don't care how much in sobriety, how many years you got. Nobody has their shit together. We all don't have
Yeah.
everything together. We're literally just imperfect humans trying to live every single day, trying to make a purpose on this earth. That's why we're here. So
Yeah.
don't ever think you got to have your stuff together. Trust me, because I don't. I'm 4.5 years and I don't even have all my stuff together. But I do know, one day at a time, and we'll get there.
That's so freaking
And I'm sorry to keep pounding that, but that is that's the most truthful, accurate thing, is literally one day at a time.
right. Just for today.
Yeah.
Just for, like, if you would have told me in the beginning of my recovery that I could never pick up a drink or a drug again, that would have been enough to drive me out right then and there. But just for today, like just for this 24 hours, or even for the month,
Yep.
as long as I don't put a substance in my body, I'm winning. And if you keep that mentality, like, the next thing you know, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and then
Yeah.
shit, you're 10 years older and you got 10 years clean.
Yep. Exactly.
Yes.
So we're
So
proud of everybody.
that's right. Yes, we are. Sunshine. Yes, really, you can do virtual meetings. There's quite a few of them. So you can go to In the Rooms on Google. There's virtual NA meetings, virtual AA meetings. There's smart recovery. There's all kinds of virtual meetings. Just go to Google and do virtual recovery meetings. You'll find a ton of them. Anything you could possibly think of. Okay. Mike, we're going to get to you next. Okay. First, let's go to cravings. Sunshine says, I'm still dealing with cravings. It's tough. So, what do you do when you have a craving, Jared?
Um, I think again, I go back to I've worked damn hard over these last 4.5 years to not be, an addict and not, go back to my DOC and anything like that. So for me is I do two things. First thing is I remember why I am sober today.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like it makes me sick to my stomach when I think about like if I ever thought about taking, fentanyl or anything, it would literally make me sick to my stomach. So I would, work that out just in my mind. Like, listen, I have an internal conflict with myself. Listen, bro, you don't want to go there. You already know what it does. And then the second thing is if it's that bad, then I pick up the phone and I call somebody. Mm-hmm. Or whether it's somebody, whether it's my girlfriend, whether it's a friend, whether it's somebody. I'll be honest. I'm not saying that I don't have cravings, but I very few far and in between for me personally. But when it does happen, again, that's the time when you need to pick up the phone and call somebody. Mm-hmm. Because next thing you know, if you're in that moment and you're dealing with cravings and you don't address it right then and there, next thing you know, it might lead to more and more and more until next thing you know, you got something in your hand. Right. So pick up. It doesn't matter. Pick up and call somebody. It doesn't matter if you're, how pick up and call or, just talk to somebody. That's what I do.
Yeah, I like that you kind of brought that up too, because what I found is that a lot of times when I have cravings, like it's something going on with me, I just need to talk about my feelings, right? Yeah. Because I always used to escape my feelings. That was my coping skill. That was my tool, was using. So when you take that away, I got no coping skills. I got no tools. So what I found is that, I did like obsess about it in the beginning, and she commented that what if it's only been a day? So I think in this particular case, if it's only been a day, then in the first 30 days, like you go through what they call the obsession. So it's where there's like a whole science behind this. Like your brain automatically thinks that it needs to drug just like it needs food or water or sleep. So it's normal to have those thoughts a lot in the first 30 days. And then they start to spread out a little bit more. And sometimes it's stronger than others. But in those days, I find that a lot of it is like being triggered by something, going through a feeling that I'm not comfortable with, changing to a new level of growth that I'm afraid to succeed and I'm afraid to fail, So it's like different things as you go on. But in the beginning, it's the obsession. So what I would say to that is like, that first 30 days, if that's where you're at right now, what was told to me was pray for the obsession to be removed, right? And that really helped me. And I continued to pray. It didn't happen the first time. I continued to pray for the obsession to be removed. And then with what Jared said, call somebody, talk about how you feel. Let them know, listen, I'm feeling like using drugs right now. I don't want to do it. Can you just talk to me? And if they're a good friend, I promise you they will talk to you until you feel better. If they try to lead you in the wrong direction, that is not a friend, and don't ever call them again.
Also remember though too, like you said, in the first 30 days, it's pretty, that's when it's the most. But your mind takes 6 months to start healing those receptors. Mm-hmm. So you can have them up to that point as well. And so just know that, your brain does takes time to heal itself. And so, it's not uncommon if you have them 3 to 6 months down the line. That's just your body's just repairing itself. And eventually that'll slowly start to phase out.
Yeah, that's so true. And you're exactly right. Like that's more science behind addiction, right? It takes 6 to 8 months for the neural pathways in your brain to reroute themselves, right? Because of all the damage that we did in addiction. So it's normal to have those thoughts in that time. So just like Jared said, like just going back to that again, right? Like just for today, I'm not going to pick up, one day at a time. And call somebody when you're feeling that way. I'm telling you, it really does work. It sounds so simple, but it really does work. So she says, yes, usually when I'm angry, I want to use. It's the feelings. Yes. And that's so true. And a lot of times, actually not a lot of times, every time feeling is a secondary emotion, right? So whenever you're feeling angry, I'm sorry, anger is a secondary emotion. So whenever you're feeling angry, there's a feeling behind that, right? Anger is the action feeling. Like there's a feeling. So whether you're feeling hurt or insecure or betrayed or disrespected or something like that's where the anger is coming from. So that's the feeling to look for that you
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You feel it the most when you're angry, and that's most of the time that's when we use is when we're feeling some sort of way, sad, depressed, angry. So that's that you're gonna feel that. It's normal, but again, that's when you pick up the phone and call.
That's right. Okay, here we go. Peggy, I just wanted to highlight this real quick. She says this helps way more than the mandatory parole meetings. Yes. I
Well,
love that.
well, think about it. When you're sentenced to something like that, the instructors there. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but like some, because I used to go and speak in the jails and stuff like that, and some other people that are in there, they don't care. They're just reading from a book, and they don't have any experience in it or anything like that. And so this is real life. Like we've done all this. We experience every single thing. So this is real life. And so, it's just I always find that, instead of them throwing them into some mandatory thing, to have them get involved in a group or something that's going to be more beneficial to them than just sitting, reading from somebody that doesn't know a thing about addiction.
That's so true. So I got a job like in the last 6 months where I do peer specialist, like I'm peer specialist, and it's all about lived experience, right? Because I remember like when I was going through treatment in jail, specifically in jail, now that I think about it, I did not give a good gosh darn what anybody had to say unless you told me that you had been in my shoes. When you've been in my shoes and you're not seeing me because you're getting paid hourly. You know what I mean? Like then I wanted to hear what you had to say. I could totally relate to that. Like I can see why this would be so much better than a mandatory facilitated meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. And she said one more thing too. I just want to put up here. She said the child I raised alone should hate me, but she's my number one family supporter. I pray you all have that person in your life. I love that. Okay. So I just want to just say something to you real quick, Mike. He said I slipped today. Tomorrow I'll be back on track, God willing. Yes, Mike. I just want to tell you, like you can get back on track anytime that you want to get back on track. Reach out, make that phone call, ask for help because it's not going to get any better out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And your life is on the line right now. So please, we hope that you do make it back tomorrow and give us an update and let us know you're okay.
Yeah. And just real quick as a side note, when you do that, think about what were you doing that led up to you, slipping. And
Mhm.
just think about that, because we put ourselves in situations, so just for next time, just think and, maybe try to, just try to avoid certain things, that may, whether it may seem innocent or not.
That's right. Yep, that's so true. And that's a really good thing to think about, right? Because the relapse actually happens way before we put a substance in our body. So there's spiritual, which I believe is usually the one to go first, spiritual, mental, emotional, and
Yeah.
then physical. So there's
Yeah.
always signs before we actually pick up, right? Like we start acting out in self-will, thinking that we know what's best. And I don't know about y'all, but when I was doing it my way, I wound up in jail.
Yeah, exactly. We don't just wake up and just, oops, I slipped and I used. No, there's a chain of events that happens, and so you just start recognizing what they are, and everything, will eventually start, making itself more clear to you.
That's right. Yep. Okay. All right. So let me see if I can find some more comments here. Robert says set goals like 3 days at a time and then 6 days because 3 days clean is a lifetime to an addict. That's the
I
truth.
agree. I agree.
Yep.
Do you remember when you're 3 days clean?
I was on the floor in medical at the jail, still kicking, like like flipping over my mattress, like running, like, you know what I mean? Like my stomach was running and it wasn't good.
But you were 3 days though.
It's
And
true.
so you had 3 days that you didn't have 3 days prior. It's the same for me. I wasn't in jail though, but I was in a dark bedroom, locked in a bedroom, wanting to die because I thought I was, like I felt like I was literally going to die. So, but we made it. We made it 3 days, and then like you said, then you make it another 3 days, and so on and so forth.
I'm so glad I made it past those 3 days. So those were rough.
Yeah. I don't wish that on anybody, honestly.
No.
Not even my worst enemy. I do not wish that.
Oh, definitely not. But you know what though? Like that, what we went through, Jared, like that to me is what I think about when I want to use. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I never want to feel that way again.
Yeah, same here. That's the biggest thing is like, ugh. I don't even, it makes me sick to my stomach to think about that.
Yeah. Oh God, it was awful.
Right.
Okay, Haley says, Terry, people will admire you for asking for help. That's real courage. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Kristen says, I was in jail for 36 days, so that helped me sober up. Then I came home and I kept doing it. Went well. I went to church and I just quit. That's awesome.
Yeah, everybody has a different story on what worked for them. And that's amazing though.
That's right. Yeah. And it sounds like you got support, right? Church is great. You have a support network there. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Lucille. Hey, April. Okay. Let's see. Let's just go through some comments here. And then Jared's going to give us a special treat.
I'm gonna hope that I'll hope the audio will work, but we'll try.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Andrea says 100% we drink on feelings. I remember 7 or 8 years ago when I got sober. God damn, how nice I felt after rehab. Just sad I felt back 2 years ago. I'm still trying. Oh, man.
But you're still trying, though.
That's right.
You got back up, or you're still trying.
That's right. And never give up.
No.
Never give up. You don't fail unless you give up.
Exactly. Yeah. The only failure is quitting. At the end of the day. So I agree. I 100% agree with you there.
Yeah. Sometimes we learn, but I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I learn best from my mistakes. Sometimes I need to learn. I'm hard-headed. Okay.
Hey, me too.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Okay. Kristen says not all of us have willpower, so good for you. That's awesome. Yes. Yeah. Or that was Sunshine that said that. She said, God helped her, but I was on meth for 7 or 8 years since she was 16 and have a 9-year-old, but she did it for him. That's beautiful. I love that. All right. Andreas, I just want you to know I'm going to keep you in my prayers. You can find yourself again. And the thing is, like, you had it for 6.5 years. You know it's possible. You know that you can do this. And maybe you could reflect back and think, how did you do it? What were you doing during that time?
Yeah.
And get back to doing those things, and that kind of goes to our topic tonight, right? Treating recovery like it's day one.
Yeah. And I would recommend that you message somebody. You can message me on my page. You can message Sonia. You can message any of us if you need just any help, advice, or anything. And that goes not just for Andres, but for everybody. Please don't be afraid to hit our inbox. That's why we're here. We may be online, make videos and this, that, but why we're here is truly for you guys.
That's right.
And we're here to help other people that were in our shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm just going to plug this real quick. So one of the ladies on here right now, Andrea, she helps people get into treatment. So if you're interested in going to get some help, reach out to me after and I'll connect you to her. Okay. Kristen says, I remember 3 days ago, I was reacting the same as you. I was freaking out in jail and screaming and hitting the door. Yes, exactly. Oh, man. Robert says, I was in ICU on life support, but 10 days. When were you in ICU? Recently? He says 10 days after I got out, I relapsed. Oh, man. Well, same for you, Robert. If you want to get
Yeah.
some help, reach out to me, okay? All right, I got another one for you, Jared.
Okay.
What do you do when your son thinks nothing is wrong with meth? That's a tough one.
Uh, yeah, that really is. Gosh, that's hard, and and I guess it depends on. Okay, it depends too on the context you're saying it. Is it something that he does that he doesn't think anything's wrong, or is it something that someone else does? I mean, there's different ways to go about it, but that's really hard because everybody has their opinion on different narcotics, and different substances. I wish I had that answer, but I don't. Like the only thing you can do is just be there continuously for him, and just let him know, love him from a distance, because you don't want to enable or anything, but you can still be there. It's just a 1 day thing, whether it's praying for him, whether it's anything.
Yeah, that's a really, really tough one.
It's
I mean,
hard.
unfortunately, like we can't change anybody else's perspective without them being willing to do it themselves,
Right.
or give anybody the willingness to want to change their life without them seeing that they have a problem, right? So the best thing to do, like Jared said, I mean, definitely be there by speaking life. Like I believe that you can stop using it. There's a better life out there for you without drugs. Just speaking good things, and don't say like you're a POS, you can't stop doing those things don't help. Just saying like things that are encouraging him, and also maintaining boundaries. I
Yep.
love you so much and I want to see you get well, but I'm not going to support your habit. So you can't stay here. I'm not giving you any money. If you need food, I'll buy you food, but I'm not going to give you money to
Right.
use some drugs. And then hopefully like that enabling will, like if you're not, I'm not saying you are, but if without the enabling piece, it will hopefully help him to get to the place faster to where he sees it's a problem. And in the meanwhile, you could check out some Al-Anon meetings, and that's really helpful too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a really good thing, because just really quick, most people as parents, we think that, we're helping our children, by enabling, and really it's the complete opposite, and you have to be you got to have those healthy boundaries, and you got to be able to be selfish in your own recovery too when it comes to family members and stuff. So you love them from a distance. I'm here for you 100%, but I got to keep my distance until you're ready.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Let's see here. Chrissy, yes, I will reach out to you after this. She said, I'm trusting and believing. I need to refocus. I need to get back on the road for recovery. I'm looking for a wonderful connection with women to help me. That's wonderful. I can send you some resources after this. Okay, we have Kelly. She says, once my main enabler, who was my mom, stopped enabling me, I started to see the light. Oh,
Yep.
mm,
There you
mm-hmm.
go.
Yep. Leonard says you can't do anyone's first step for them. That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do it yourself. You gotta want to do it.
Okay, are you ready, Jared?
Oh gosh.
We
Now
got
I'm
it.
now I'm regretting this. No. So I'm gonna attempt it. So really quick, what Sonia is meaning is that I also so um I make music. I've been making music for many years. I took time off. I do everything from hip hop to play the guitar to piano, multiple things. So I'm actually working on a recovery based album right now, and it's going a little slow, but I have a new song that I'm working on that nobody else other than my girlfriend has heard it. So I'm going to, just give everybody a little snippet, a little sneak peek, and hopefully later on this week or next week, the full length will be released. So,
Love it.
all right. So give me a second. Let me get this set up.
Okay, I'm excited. And definitely, if you got after this, I'll post a link to Jared's Facebook page. He has a podcast called the Blaklist Podcast. You guys go follow that page and check out. You can actually find my episode on there too.
Yeah, you can find it on there, Spotify, YouTube. Sonia's episodes on pretty much almost every major streaming platform.
Awesome.
All right, let's see what I can do. Okay. I don't. I'm trying to see how well you can hear. Can you hear the audio? Okay.
Yep.
HD recovery. Insane.
All
I
right.
think y'all are ready.
Music.
Check it. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, but to make you feel like a weatherman, sharp as a blade like a leatherman, bounce with me just like a rubber band. J to the A-R-E-D, B to the L-A-I to the N-E. It's C-Y-B to the D-I-E, to the rest is 3-6-15. Oh, this reverse it back up, yeah, let me change this flow. Everybody better guess up, why? We about to blow. I'ma introduce myself, sobriety. I want full stars, I want this life, and I want stories. 2018, the only data you want to live. To the haters, rain I fall. Yeah, better mind your biz. I swear to God, I ain't going out without a fight. Without a fight, I walk for faith, and now I'm about to see anybody wanna know. I can't put your hands up, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Running every day till I D-I-E. Say till I drop, don't fuck with me.
There you go.
Yes,
I don't
love
know
that.
how well the audio was. Did it sound okay?
Yes,
All right. I
that
wanted
was
to make
awesome.
sure. I wanted to make sure it wasn't so like too muffled or anything like that. So.
Yeah, that was awesome, Jared. I can't wait for you to publish that.
You
You
know,
guys got the sneak peek tonight.
yeah, exactly. Nobody else has got to hear this, so if you heard it here, great.
That was awesome. Everybody says I love it. Cool,
Awesome.
love it, yay.
So Sonia and I, we've done a couple things together. We're gonna do some more in the future. So please, I appreciate her definitely letting me come on here, letting me tell my story on her page, and her telling her story on ours. I definitely just want to give words of encouragement to everybody. Is that I posted something earlier this morning, and it really made me think. Is remember, nobody is too broken to be put back together, and just it doesn't matter what you're going through in this current moment. Doesn't matter where you've been. Doesn't matter where you're at. The biggest thing is you walk one foot in front of the other, and don't try to force anything in life. Let everything happen naturally, because when you start trying to force it, that's when things start getting caught up, and you're just doing it for everybody else. You're not doing it for yourself. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. I just kind of felt like on my heart to say that, it's just move forward, and you're never too broken.
That's right. To Neil, I think he was talking to you. I mean, I'm reading this comment as you're talking, and I'm thinking, wow, that was like a God thing, man. I've been on that 4 years on and off. Seems like when I'm sober for long periods of time, it's always the people in my life know at my face that are my biggest downfall. Instead of ignoring them and knowing they're wrong, I fall back into drugs and let them be right. And it sucks because I want them to be so wrong. Because if they only knew how much it scares me going back, knowing and feeling like I'm going to die because of meth, if I can't get away from that life.
Well, you can get away from that life. First things first, you have to want it. That's the first thing, is you have to want it. You can't do it for your mom, your dad, your kids. You have to do it for yourself, and you got a great group of people that are here that are able to, help guide and lead and direct, so Sonia has plenty of connections with getting into treatment. So, I mean, you can reach out to, you can do it. You can do it. Never say you can't do it.
That's right. That's right. Peggy says, change your playground and your playmates. That's real right there.
People, places, things.
Yeah. And you know what? Anybody that doesn't believe in you, I don't care if it's family. I don't care if it's your mom. Yeah. In the beginning, my parents didn't believe in me. They watched me fail over and over and over again. But eventually, like, they came around. But you know what? There's still some people that were, family that haven't come around yet. So I don't try to make it better with them or make them change their mind, because they might never change their mind. And that's okay. That's their prerogative. But I try to surround myself with people that believe in me, because I need people to believe in me for me to believe in myself. Like, sometimes I need somebody else to see it because I can't see it. Right. So that means like changing everybody around you, because you can do this. Like Jared said, like, you can do this. It's never too, what was the quote that you said? Say that again.
You're never too broken to be put back together. That one?
That's the one. Yes.
Yes, you it doesn't matter how much you think, how much you've messed up in the past, how much you feel like you failed, how much you've done that was disgusting when you were using. We've all been, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is you walking forward and making the decision to change your life every single day.
That's right.
And, again, people, places, things, just like Peggy said, change your playground. I had to move 1,000 miles away. Got a, no phone number, no social media. I moved 1,000 miles away with the clothes on the back of a trunk. And here I am 4.5 years later.
That's awesome.
You got, sometimes that's what you need to do. You need to reset and you just go for it.
That's right. That's right. Lucille says, wow, Jared, those are the exact words I turned to in the Bible about being broken and put back together. That was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. Oh, Jacqueline says she's been trying to tell her daughter this. Jacqueline, send your daughter this video so that she can hear it from another person, because sometimes, like, when we say things to our loved ones, they don't want to hear it from us, but they might listen from somebody else, especially somebody that's been there.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. Okay. We'll take a couple more comments. We got about 10 minutes left. Kelly says, I feel the only way to be clean is to do it for yourself. I've tried many times to get clean for other people and it never worked. Once I wanted it for myself, I've never turned back in over 6 years. Awesome.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yep. That's right. Okay, and Kristen, who's been riding with us the whole time, I love it, says, thanks, love y'all. I love everyone. I believe most people are good and we all have struggled somewhere in our lives. Ain't that the truth? Ain't nobody perfect. Nobody. We've all had our struggles. We've all been through hard things. It's just some people talk about it and others hide it.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Tennille says, thank you. Honestly, I was scared to write, but I'm at such a loss, and those are the answers I think I needed to hear. But I haven't seemed to ever get anything close to that. That's okay. You know what? Just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean you can't do it. You just haven't done it yet, but you can.
And I may sound like a broken record, but once you do it every day, you do it just like day one. I don't know why, and people are probably gonna get sick of me saying that, but that's what it is. That's what we're talking about. It's just you'll get there, and when you do, every single day, just do the same thing over and over and over, and just keep working.
Yeah, that's what works for me. I mean, here I am. I'm coming up on 4 years soon, but I still do the same things that I did on day one. And for me, like, whatever path to recovery you choose is your personal choice. But for me, going to meetings and getting a sponsor and working the steps and staying connected, that's what worked for me in the beginning. So I'm not going to try to change it up now because I already know that this works, so I'm just going to continue to do that. And sometimes that routine saves my ass when I'm having a hard time, because I am already connected, because I already do go to a meeting regularly every week, because I do work with my sponsor, those things, that's my routine. So when I'm having a hard time and things are going crazy, like, I just don't use, and I continue to do what I've been doing. As long as I continue to do that, like, I will get to the other side of it.
Yeah, and just to put it out there for everybody, everybody's pathway to recovery is different. Okay, so we can't shame someone else because they recover differently than us.
That's right.
All right, so just remember that, what works for you may not work for me, and so on and so forth. Just know that because we don't do the same thing doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that what works for you. So again, Sonia, you got a sponsor, you went to meetings, you went to, did you go to treatment, right? You went to treatment?
Yeah, I had to.
Okay, but again, me on the other hand, and again, when I got sober, I detoxed in a room, and guess what? Never had to go to treatment or rehab or anything like that. I went to meetings, I got a sponsor, stuff like that. But again, doesn't mean that everyone else can do that. I just didn't have to go to treatment. Sometimes people, you got to go to treatment. That's what works. But we all recover different. But at the end of the day, the end result's all the same. We're all in the same race at the end of the day here.
That's right. And they say recovery is as unique as your fingerprint. Like whatever it is that works for you, like work it,
Yeah,
because the main goal is that you don't die. Because it's
exactly.
really that serious out there. Like this shit is wiping people out by the hundred thousands a year. So if you find something that's keeping you from going that way, do it and do it to the best of your ability. Whatever it is that works, work it. That's all.
Yeah.
We should not judge each other. Like we need to be united. We need each other to be able to do this. So
Yep.
whatever way it is that somebody chooses to recover, let's just be happy for them. That's all, right?
I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah. And Lucille, like I know Lucille, she's on here with us every single week, all the time, and I love her. She said, I did all of those things in the beginning, bringing in meetings, and then I found the Lord, and my pathway is now church and the Word. And that's awesome, right? Like whatever it is that's working for you, do
Yeah.
that. You know.
Yep.
I just
I
want to
agree.
share something real quick. I have a Christy. You don't have to send me money. That comment automatically appears in the top of my live whenever I go live. I don't need to do this. But if you do need help, reach out to me after. I'll connect you to my friend Haley. Yeah. So what is recovery? So we got like 7 minutes left. So what does working your recovery on day one look like for you?
Um, it goes back to first things first, why I got sober. I was sick and
Mhm.
tired of living the way that I lived, sick and tired of chasing a high every day, not being able to function until I woke up, when I woke up. So for me, the first thing is I never want to go back to that life again. I never want to be that person ever again. So
Mhm.
that's my main reason. That's my main reason why I got sober, and that's the main reason why I stay sober. So I wake up every single day, and thank God for another day. Because listen, there's how many of us people out there didn't wake up today, and we had the opportunity to wake up. So think about it, when you're here with us, we're all alive. That means we have another day with another purpose on this earth. So I just grateful that I get to live another day. Um and then my second thing is uh you know I I have a handful of people that I talk with, that whether I sponsor them or I just talk to them about the recovery. So me checking in with them on a daily basis helps keep myself in check. And so yeah, and then I just remember that I want to help people who were lost like me, and I just continue to move forward, and that's what I do. Like it's not a big thing for me, but it is a big thing at the end of the day. So wake up,
Great.
remember why I'm sober, remember why I'm here, help other people, and move forward in life. I mean, that's what I do.
That's right. And like one thing I heard that I've always loved, I read this out of one of the books in my 12-step fellowship. It says that complacency lies. All right, you're going to have to listen to this because it's kind of like a thought provoking sentence. Complacency lies in the gulf between desperation and passion. So, like we were talking about earlier, like sometimes you get complacent when you've been clean for a little while, you get your stuff back, you gain a little bit of weight, you eat healthy, you get food, you start looking better, you get a job, you get your license and all those things. But what happens and that's what made me think about what you said, Jared, because we have to find what we're passionate about, right? So in the beginning, like we stop using because we're desperate. I mean, we can't everything in our life is falling apart. Like if we don't stop using, it's not ever going to get better. Like we figure that out, right? So we eventually stop using. And but what we need to do is like find that gratitude, like Jared said, find the gratitude. That's really, really important. Remember where I came from because I never want to go back and I never have to. And then start searching for the things that make you happy. Like, what are you good at? What are your talents? What are your gifts? Where's your experience? Like, look into those things. See if you can go help somebody in one of those areas. Because if you can, you might discover your purpose, and your purpose is what keeps you so long. That's just
I agree. So on the
my.
flip side, you asked me, what does it look like for you?
Okay, so for me, I have what I call like my daily maintenance, right? So every day I do the same couple of things. The first thing that I do, I like to get up early because I feel better about myself when I do. So if I sleep too long, then I'm like beating myself up all day, like I slept too long, like I should. I'm weird, but so I like to get up early and then I do a gratitude list. The first thing I do in the morning is a gratitude list. And I have like a little group chat with group of women and we all do it together. So we're all accountable to each other. There's only four of us in the group, but we do a gratitude list every single morning. And then I read something, whether it be like a chapter in the Bible or some of my recovery literature. I read something in the morning and then I get up and I take a shower, put my makeup on, get dressed, and I go about my day. And at the end of the day, I pray. And during the day, I connect to somebody in recovery. Usually I connect to like 5 to 10 people in recovery, but at least once a day, I connect to somebody in recovery, right? I go to the same meeting every single week. I never miss that meeting. I hope so for me, that's what works. Like just having that routine is what helps me to stay sober. Because if I'm in the routine, like no matter what I'm going through, I can get to the other side if I have the routine. And it's like kind of like a safety net, I guess, too. Like for people that have been through trauma, like it helps me to feel safe, which allows me to grow, So yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
See, and that is, it's different for everybody. But remember, just because it's different, your is going to be different than mine and Sonia's, and just remember that you're not wrong. Don't think that you're doing something wrong, because there's no right way to recovery. There is no right way. Like, you have the overall steps, but there's no right or wrong way on getting yourself to where you got to be at.
Right. And I think the takeaway from what Jared and I said is like, find what works for you, but find what works for you,
Exactly.
like one day at a time, right?
Yeah.
Just for today, I'm not going to put a substance in my body. And if the whole world falls apart and I fail at everything, even though we don't fail unless we give up, but if I perceive that I fail at everything, as long as I didn't pick up, it's still been a successful day and my life is still a miracle. Like I hang on to that, right? Because some days everything gets all messed up. But as long as I didn't pick up, I'm still winning. I'm still doing really good, So just don't use and figure out what works for you. Whatever it is that works for you, keep doing that every day at a time, just for today. Yeah. So yeah, you guys. Okay, so some updates. Okay. So Jared did his story on my YouTube channel, Hope About Recovery. You guys have to check it out. It's not out yet, but it's almost out. I've almost published it. It should be out this weekend. But Jared and I are going to be doing another one of these lives really soon. So I hope you guys can join us. It's not going to be this Monday because, well, it just won't be, but it will be next Monday. So next Monday, you guys tune in. We're going to go on all of our different pages. So you'll see us no matter where you tune in at, Monday at 7:00.
Yes. And thank you guys for coming on with us. Thank you for the ones that lasted with us the whole time. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the love and support from everybody. And again, you can check out Sonia's story on the Blaklist Podcast on Facebook. We're also on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Sonia will put links in the description. And if you guys need anything, we're here day or night. And don't hesitate to reach out.
That's right. We love you guys. We'll see you again soon. Good night.
Thank you guys.